a 28-year-old mom of one child, and I just spent 25 years being verbally, mentally, and physically abused by members of my biological family. This first started with my birth mother, physically, mentally, verbally, and emotionally, and kinda sexually abusing me, ever since I don't remember. Probably since I was a toddler, I'm assuming. And then when I was 12 years old, she left my father for another man, and it became rape. The abuse then escalated to more physical and mental and verbal abuse, and some brainwashing, because she wanted to turn us to obeying her new husband. This husband of hers then sexually assaulted me and my younger sibling. The sexual abuse toward me escalated until I was 16 years old, and I was in high school. When I was in high school, the physical, verbal, mental, emotional, sexual abuse escalated perpetrated by my birth mother and a husband, and me and my younger sibling was still happening. Her husband then proceeded to keep sexually abusing my younger sibling, and then he tried to get me pregnant with his child, which never happened. He was never able to get me pregnant. He then got angry that he wasn't able to get me pregnant with his child, and he beat me and his wife out of rage and anger that he could not get me pregnant with his child. So then when I turned 16, actually my birth mother married this man, and they proceeded to live a lifestyle where all of us were very poor. We were living off of borrowed money. They were not able to financially provide for me and my younger sibling as parents. They didn't treat us very well while we were living in their care. I did attempt to call DCFS on them, and it didn't work. The cops came over a few times when I was a teenager. I told the school to call DCFS, the school that I was attending, where the schools that me and my younger sibling were attending, which then turned into the same school, were very aware of all the verbal, physical, mental, and emotional abuse that was perpetrated on me and my younger sibling. They were eventually made aware of all of that. The CFS came and spoke to me at the school, and I, for whatever reason that I don't know, was too afraid to say anything at first. And then I finally told them something, because I was so disgusted by what my birth mother's husband was trying to do to me. He was trying to get me pregnant with his child. I told the school that I suspected they wanted to sexually abuse me. I didn't tell them that it actually happened because I was too afraid. Because after that, I had to go home, and then the school, what they do is, when you call DCFS and your parents, when you're a kid or a teenager, the school will then, I did not have time to brush my hair. I'm a mom. I just had a baby 4 months ago, so, hair wash day is later because this video is first, and then the rest of the day happens later for me. So that's why my hair looks like this right now, So basically half of this that happened is that I was a very skinny teenager. My birth mother was a very big, large woman, and I was a very skinny teenager, and my husband was also extremely physically abusive. He's a short man, pretty much fat, I think. I've never noticed or cared about his weight and why he was able to scare me. He pretty much used mental manipulation tactics on my birth mother, and then he would beat her when she didn't obey him. So it was just for certain reasons like that. She was then able to abuse us and scare us because she said that her husband had scared her somehow. I don't know how he scared her. I don't have many memories of what I saw him do to her. But what I saw was just that she said she was in love with him and she was addicted to him. And, she loved being with him and she placed him in importance above everyone else that she'd ever met in her entire life. She placed her husband in importance in every single aspect of her life. Because, she left my biological father for this man. She broke up a family over this man. So, of course, he was able to abuse her and manipulate her into abusing the last 2 kids that she had left living in her house. They were very poor where they were raising us. We didn't have school supplies. We did not go to school with school supplies. We only had new clothes sometimes. We were absolutely, from the time that she met her husband, we were absolutely banned from having any food. We could not eat food from the second he dated his wife and moved into our house at the time. He had announced that all the food in the house belonged to him. Everything was his. When I was 19 years old, I was in college. We were all still poor because basically they were banning me from having a job. She was jealous and envious of me. She hated me. She hated how skinny and pretty I was. And her husband had a crush on me continuously over the years. He had never stopped having a crush on me, ever. He banned me from leaving the house. He banned me from getting a job. Basically, just because of her husband having a crush on me and being angry that I wouldn't be with him by choice, he would not let me do anything. And she, in turn, because she was being manipulated and abused by him, she also would not let me do anything. I could not leave the house. I could not get a job. So when I was 19 years old, I got into college, but because I had no more gas money and they didn't want to drive me to college anymore, the next year I had dropped out of college. So, basically I had nothing but to stay at home and waste my life away living with these people. I have a partial hearing loss. So the next year, about 2 years, we spent some time living in a motel as temporary housing, basically, because they were that poor and they were not getting jobs and they were not letting me get a job. My younger sibling, who was then old enough to work, my birth mother was babying him and saying that he did not have to get a job because he was deaf. He does have a complete profound hearing loss. That means he can make noises, but he cannot hear anything. He cannot hear anything at all. So he uses sign language to communicate with people. And he cannot hear anything. He can only make noises. Oh, okay. Also, when I was in college, when I was 19 years old, they went and applied for me to have some money to go to school with. It was Social Security, but it was supposed to be used for my college expenses. Which, of course, they then decided that money was theirs. They started taking it for themselves. With this money, they would get weed and alcohol and basically just blow it on themselves instead of it going towards my college expenses, where it was supposed to be going toward. The money was always in my name. When I turned 21, we then moved to a different state where the college expenses were to be used for, I had dropped out of college, but we were still getting the money.